guys, and welcome to another Declutter series video. Today we're going to be looking at the continuation of my highlighters. So we've already reviewed my more natural, subtle, sort of lit from within highlighters. If you missed that video, I will link it down below and put it up here in a little card, because that is definitely a collection of products that I very much love, but sometimes I want a little bit more amped up glow, and that's when I reach for some of these products. But I feel like I've got too many here. I just am not getting to them. There's some that I don't think are working for me anymore, or maybe I have misjudged how much they match my skin tone. So I do want to go through these and kind of declutter. This section over here is more colorful highlighters. So I have a few of those and I wanted to tackle those in this video as well. And then at the end of this video, we're going to come back and give a total recap, not only of what we decluttered today, but kind of how we did in total for highlighters. And then I'll show you how the drawer looks now that it has been cleaned up. If you're excited for today's declutter video, make sure to give this a thumbs up. Make sure you're also subscribed because there's a lot more declutters coming here soon. We are going through my entire collection and just kind of editing out things that aren't working or that are duplicates. And so we have a lot of product categories to still get through. There is a declutter series on my channel, so if you ever want to watch any of my past declutters from last year or some of the more new ones, we've already done blushes this year and bronzers, so those are out there for you guys. And if you're like me, you like to binge watch declutters, that is one of my favorite things to do. So let's go ahead and get into today's video because we got a lot of products to look at. Okay, we're going to start with my more colorful highlights here. I don't have a ton of these. I do have some that are actually in face palettes. We're going to be talking about face palettes separately from this, so there will be another smattering of colorful highlighters coming in probably that future video, but let's go ahead and open these up. Let's go ahead and start with these down here. So I think these are more peach shifting highlighters. This is from Milani. This is their Luminous Light Hypnotic Lights highlighter. They released several of these sort of duochrome type shades, and I think I kept this one out of all of them. I think I had one other one. This one shifts sort of peachy pink, and I think this one does the same. So this is from Makeup Revolution, one of their Vivid Baked highlighters in the shade Peach Lights. So if you, hopefully you guys can see that. This one is definitely closer to my skin tone and it's a lot deeper. This one's actually a lot shinier and a lot brighter. So of the two, I definitely think I prefer this one. Let's swatch this one as well. This is from NYX. This is their Chromatic highlighter in the shade Snow Rose. I cannot remember exactly what this one looked like. Yeah, these two are very, very similar. So these three feel very similar, undertoned, peachy, shifting. I think out of all of them, I actually like the highlighter style and undertone of this Makeup Revolution one the best. So I think I'm going to hang on to it, and I think I'm going to pass these two along. All right, so this is from Too Faced. I don't know if this is limited edition or not. This is their, it doesn't say on the package. I can't remember the name of this highlighter. Well, I'll put it up here on the screen. It's really interesting. I mean, it's almost like they poured different colors into this, because depending on how you shift it and where you focus your brush, you get almost greenish, purple, etc. So let me swatch this. I'm going to try and just grab all the colors here. This one I remember was very white based and then almost had a bit of a lavendery type shift to it. It's a beautiful formula. It's baked gelée. I don't know. It's lavender, but it's really silvery and pretty. And on someone with fair skin, I actually really enjoyed this highlighter. Let's look at it against these three. So this is from Pat McGrath. This was part of one of those highlighters that she had this little kit for. Came with a cream highlighter stick and a brush. And this, the packaging on this is like completely cheapy. This is Iridescent Pink. Yeah, and you can see that is strongly pink and strongly iridescent, like crazy iridescent. This is from Laura Geller. This is one of her Baked Gelée highlighters, or Baked Gelato Swirl. This is the shade Diamond Dust. Has a similar sort of shifting, almost holographic look to it, the way that the Pat McGrath one does. And it's definitely a similar undertone, but it is definitely a lot less pink than the Pat McGrath one is too. And then let's look at this. This is from NYX. This is another one of their duo chromatic ones. This is in the shade Lavender Steel. I'm gonna put it down here because I feel like it's gonna be most comparable to the Too Faced one. I lie, it may have more pinkiness to it than I realized from these. Oh, this is crazy. I can't believe I'm saying this. I think I'm gonna get rid of Pat McGrath. I think she's just too strongly pink. I'm not reaching for it. And if I want a pink shifting-y type highlighter, I actually prefer the undertone. It's not as shiny, but I prefer the undertone of this Laura Geller one. I think I can pass on this lavender one from NYX. I don't know, I'm not reaching for it a ton, and I have some other cream, more lavender based ones that I like better. And then I really like this sort of silvery shade that I get from Too Faced, so I'm gonna keep that. So I'm gonna keep these two and pass these two along. Okay, up first, I've pulled some very, very light pinky highlighters. So this is from JCat. This is the You Glow Baked Highlighter. This is in the shade Bella Rose. I have found not all of their baked highlighters to be great, but this one is super lovely. It's very intense, but it can be built up even more so, but there's no glitter particles, shimmer particles, just a really intense, light pink, almost white highlighter. This is the shade Lunar from Makeup Revolution in their Strobe highlighter. We just talked about this in their new releases for spring. This one has also a very strong whitish undertone, but it definitely picks up a little bit more lavender than this one. Hopefully you guys can see that lavender peeking through on there. This is a beautiful color on me, and I don't think I have anything else like it in my collection. And then this is from Pop Beauty. This is their Prismatic Pop in Celestial Light. They were out of stock on this for a while, and I finally got my hands on it when it came back in stock. This one is hecka blinding. Like, it is an incredibly blinding highlighter that is just a little bit more pinky toned than this guy here. So to be honest, right now I'm feeling like I want to keep all three of these. So there they are on the back of my wrist. I'm just gonna keep swatching down my wrist as well so that I can keep track of what I'm doing here. Okay, so these all are very similar pinky toned highlighters that are lighter and brighter. One of my favorites is from Dior. I know, super bougie, but it is their Nude Air Luminizer in the shade 02. Just got this one maybe a year ago. I had their solo shade for a while, but this baked gelée texture is, I mean, freaking stunning. I mean, absolutely beautiful on the skin, just melts in. I do love a good baked gelée formula. One that I've heard is very similar to it is actually from Wet n Wild. It is Blossom Time Glow, and although I don't think this is a baked gelée texture, it is a powder, the effect on the skin from an undertone perspective is really, really freaking similar. It might be a little more frosty pink than this one. I think Nude is a little less pink and a little more neutral than this one, but it is very similar. So if you want a similar luminosity, I definitely think this Wet n Wild one is phenomenal. This is from Laura Geller. This is Pink Charming, one of her big Gelato Swirl illuminators. This is also a beautiful formula that has a very similar undertone to all the ones we just swatched. Maybe a little more neutral, so it may be a little more similar to the Dior one. And then I've got two Makeup Revolution triple baked highlighters. I've got Goddess of Faith and Goddess of Love. Goddess of Faith is a little more neutral and a little more similar to the ones we just swatched. And then Goddess of Love is a little more peachy. Okay, so here are the 5 highlighters here that we're swatching. These are the first 3 that we looked at just a minute ago, and then these are the 5 that are out here in front of me right now. These are very freaking similar, so I really need to make some edited decisions here. Okay, well, I've spent a fortune on this one. I don't think I'm gonna part with my Dior one anytime soon. I also like this Wet n Wild one quite a bit. It is more pinky toned than the Dior one, but I think that's nice. But since I'm keeping this more pinky toned one, I don't think I need Goddess of Love down here. I think these are almost exactly the same to one another, plus this packaging is just really big and bulky, so I think I can pass this guy on. Pink Charming, while beautiful, I don't think I'm going to reach for it over these two. These are gorgeous. This is just too similar, so I think I can find someone who enjoys this a bit more. And then I do think I'm going to hang on to Goddess of Faith. I just like having a drugstore baked product. I know this is bulky, but it's a beautiful formula. I really do like it, so I'm going to hang on to this. Moving on, these are deeper pink highlighters that I don't feel like are rose gold highlighters, but they're definitely pink, and I'm trying to decide if I want to keep them. So this is from Makeup Geek. This is the shade Glitz. I think this is one of those ones that is actually, oh yeah. See, it is a lot lighter in person on your hand than it is in the pan. Let me swatch this back here. Oh yeah, see, that is brighter than pretty much any of these here. In fact, that's more comparable to that very first J-Cat shade that we kept. That's almost white. Okay, that's beautiful. These two from Wet n Wild, so this is Botanic Dream, and this is the Sweetest Bling. I feel like both of these are too pink when I played around with them, and were almost more like blushes on me. Yeah, those are very deep. So I do think I'm gonna pass these two on. I don't think I'm gonna miss them, so I'll keep Makeup Geek and pass these two on. These are ones that I would consider to be rose gold, so I'm probably pushing the boundaries of what I can get away with here as far as highlighters go. So this is Bobbi Brown. This is Pink Glow. It does have some white parts that I can swirl into, and I was a little nervous when I was playing with this the other day that it might be too dark on me. This is so wet looking on the skin that even though it is more of a rose gold and might be a tinge too deep for me to really lighten and brighten my tops of my cheeks, I do feel like this one still works for me, and I really loved the effect. So I do think I'm going to keep this Bobbi Brown one. This is from Pixi by Petra. This is their Glowy Gossamer Duo. I really liked this one. It's got a more pinky side and then more traditional gold side. The pinky side is brighter, you can see there, than the Bobbi Brown. That one is too dark on me, but I can mix them together and make it work. I think the formula on this is stunning. And then this is the Maybelline Master Chrome in Rose Gold. This one is very thick feeling, and I really have to buff it into my skin to get it to work. It is a little dark and a little deep on me. And it doesn't even have quite the shine that that Bobbi Brown one does. Yeah, that's lighter than I realized. So that is Maybelline there, and that is Bobbi Brown. I'm gonna hang on to these for the time being. I'm still hopeful that Maybelline comes out with a shade that works better, and if they do, I may replace this with a lighter shade, assuming they ever come out with it. But for the time being, I do think I'm gonna keep these three. Guys, I'm not doing very well this round. I guess I shouldn't be shocked, right? All right, so these are ones that I consider to be a little more neutral or maybe a smidge more gold. So let's get all of these open so you can see what we're working with here. All right, let's start with two that look like they're going to be very similar. So this is the Knobby Get Gorgeous highlighter. I got this off of the Shop Hush app. I've never seen this brand anywhere else. I don't remember the shade name. It's got a weird item number on the back, but I believe it had a shade name. It's a very neutral, bright highlighter. And then this is from J-Cat. This is another one of their You Glow Girl ones. This is in the shade Crystal Sand. This is another beautiful formula from them. That one goes a little more gold, if you can see that. It's not quite as bright as this knobby one. The texture of these feels very similar to one another. It's that stiffer baked formula. I have to be honest, now that I'm staring at these two side by side, I think I prefer this knobby one to the J-Cat one, just from an undertone perspective. Although that is a gold that I can actually wear. Let's swatch the rest of these and we'll make some decisions. So this is the Wet n Wild Mega Glow Loose Highlighting Powder. This was from the Gotho Glam line. This is a beautiful formula, really, really freaking intense. I feel like that is a gold I could wear too. The other gold highlighter, this is the Amrezi highlighter. This one, although it looks like it'd be way too brassy on me and way too dark, for some reason when I buff it out on the skin, it just gives, I I don't know, lightness and wetness to the skin. So I really like that Amrezy one. All right, this one is definitely almost white, so I do really like this one. I think it is different than the other three, so I'm gonna keep it. I feel like this J-Cat one and this Wet n Wild one end up being very similar to one another, but the Wet n Wild one is just a lot messier. So I think I'm gonna pass the Wet n Wild one on, and I think I may keep the J-Cat one. And then I am gonna keep the Amrezy highlighter as well. I really did enjoy that. This is my other Dior highlighter. This is the Nude Air in 01. This is the original one and the only color they had. So I feel like this one is very close to my skin tone, but it's got enough lightness and enough metallic wetness to it that it still makes my skin look glowy and lit from within, versus like a really bright highlighter that's several shades lighter that really lifts your cheek. This one is an Essence Glow Baked Metallic Highlighter. This one was on their website and then it was gone, and I feel like if they had had any stock in it, it would have, like, people would have gone crazy for it, because it is one of the most metallic, insanely bright highlighters I have ever seen. So I don't know if they intend to bring this back or if this is a one-time shot, but as far as really intense metallic highlighters go, this is definitely one of the brightest ones in my collection. This is the Ofra highlighter in Beverly Hills. It's got various sections you can dip into. I almost always have to pull into this white shade to make it light enough for me. It's a pretty highlighter. I don't know, I'm not a huge Ofra fan highlighter. I've tried Rodeo Drive, it was too dark on me. Never tried the Glazed Donut one. This one is super powdery. I already had one break on me, and then I got another one in BoxyCharm. I don't know, it's pretty. I don't think I'm gonna miss it, so I am gonna pass this one along. But I do think I'm gonna keep these two, the Dior and the Essence. Opposite spectrums of expensiveness. All right, guys, so didn't do quite as well this go round, but listen, I have a love affair with highlighters. I already went through a massive purge of highlighters last year, so I don't feel awful about this ratio, so I'm keeping 18. I'm getting rid of 10. That is 36%. So not quite up to 40, but I still feel like that is pretty good for me. So I don't feel like I'm gonna miss anything in here. I like all the things that are in here. I think they're beautiful products. I like them for different reasons. I have a thing for highlighters, guys. Sorry, this is not more brutal, but I did want to give you an update on the totals. So when I look at all my highlighters, both natural and intense, I am getting rid of 22 and I'm keeping 34. So I'm actually getting rid of 39% of my highlighters. So almost 40% of my highlighters that I'm getting rid of. And here is what the drawer looks like all put together. So definitely have room for everything now. Nothing is smushed on top or sitting on top of one another. Everything fits nicely with my bronzers. I feel like I've got room to breathe. It's easy for me to flip through everything. So the drawer is definitely looking a lot more put together and organized. Hi guys, Future Editing Sarah here. I realized after I finished filming my highlighter video that I had missed some e.l.f. highlighters that I had set aside in a separate little bin to do a different e.l.f. video on. So I missed talking about these. So I do want to address these real fast as part of my declutter series. So let me open up these. Okay, so these are the e.l.f. Shimmer Highlighting Powders. It's interesting. Sometimes e.l.f. launches the same product and then does different packaging. I never quite understand how they come to terms with like what they're going to put on the front versus the back of these containers, but whatever. These are their shimmer highlighting powders. I have tried 3 of these. I had one that I decluttered last time that was very similar to the Mary Luminizer, and I enjoyed the formula, but at the time that was the lightest shade and I felt like it was too similar to Mary Lou to keep. Since then they've launched this shade, which is Rose Glow, which is a really pretty pink shade. It's got a nice silvery pink glow to it. I really like this highlighter. At this point, I've put away all of my other pink highlighters, so I can't exactly show you guys it next to other pink highlighters, but I know I enjoyed this one. And then this is the shade Pearl Glow, which I thought was a white, but it actually has a smidge of a goldish undertone to it. So it's white, but it definitely has that gold shift to it. It's not quite so brassy. I feel like I want to keep the pink one. I'm gonna hold on this one because I want to compare it against something that is over here. In fact, let's just jump to it. This is just the e.l.f. highlighter in the shade White Pearl. It looks incredibly yellow. In fact, when this first showed up in my mailbox, I was like, oh man, I'm gonna hate this. But it was the lightest shade of this little $2 highlighter that they have out there. And it's definitely seems to be a little darker and deeper still than this one, but you can tell it's not as dark as it would look in the pan. An interesting like sunshine yellow color, right? So whereas this one, I think now that I'm looking at it, has a little bit more neutral undertone. That one is very sunshiny yellow. Before we get into these little duochrome pans, let's swatch this one. This is one of their baked highlighters. This is in the shade Moonlight Pearls. This is one that never swatches well with my finger, I feel like, but does show up pretty well on my skin. It's definitely more of a champagne than this white. Okay, so I think what I want to do, I think I'm going to pass this baked one on. I just never fell in love with it the way that a lot of people have, so I think I'm going to pass it on. I do think I want to keep this one as well. I like the formula of it. I like how shiny it is. That's it there in the middle. This one is pretty, but I think I've got other goldish highlighters that I kept that I'm going to like a little bit more. If they come out with another shade that's more champagne or pinky toned, I'd probably pick it up. From a formula perspective, guys, though, for $2, this is an absolutely incredible product. I mean, incredible. These are their little duochrome highlighters. So this is the shade Mermaid Tail and this is the shade Blue Lagoon. They both have shades that look very similar to one another. Blue Lagoon is definitely a more blue, whereas this one is more purple. Let me swatch these guys so you can kind of see them. But whereas that other formula felt very creamy and like very reflective, this one just never really, I don't know, this one never really did much for me. It was mildly reflective, but it was very powdery and just kind of a weak formula. So when I first saw these little duochrome pans, I thought it was going to be similar to the highlighters that are in here, but these are just, they're creamier and they're easier to blend out, and these just don't really build up to anything. So I don't think I want to keep either one of these in my collection. So that changes my updates as far as totals go. So in the more intense highlighter category with colorful ones thrown in as well, I'm keeping 20 and I'm getting rid of 14. So I'm getting rid of 41%. So that's not too bad. In total though, when I look at both my more natural highlighters that we talked about in a different video, plus these, I'm keeping 36 and I'm getting rid of 26. So that's about 42% of the overall highlighters gone. I'm okay with that. I think that's pretty good. I probably could have gotten rid of a couple more, but in general, I'm really happy with what I have left. Let me know down in the comments below. Do you guys prefer more natural highlighters, or do you prefer something that's a little bit more intense and metallic on your cheeks? Would love to know what your favorite highlighters are, and if you have anything that you would recommend I try that you haven't seen as part of my collection. It is one of my favorite things to try and swatch. I don't know, shiny things, right? I hope you guys are enjoying this declutter series. Look forward to talking to you soon. Bye.